and welcome back to the Pin Man. Today, as you already know by the title of this video, we are going to be talking about kit pins. Now, you all have heard, no doubt, and or read about in various forums. Perhaps you've even purchased a Pitkin before. So a lot of you, some of you already know about kit pins, but a lot of fountain pen enthusiasts still haven't really gotten into it, or maybe, and I would say worse yet, have gotten a wrong impression about kit pins. What is a kit pin and what is it not? Well, first of all, a kit pin is not something that an individual can send away for. The parts come in, they snap them together, and boom, they have made a pin. And worse yet, they would call themselves a pin maker, because that is not a pin maker. In fact, when you get into the world of kit pins, the term is pin turner, because, as I will show you in a little bit, kit pins are made primarily on a lathe. Most of the time it's a small, typically what's called a wood lathe versus a metal lathe. Metal lathes are a lot more technical. They're big, they're heavy, they're expensive, but they can be more precise if you know how to use them. But pin turners do a good job with a regular lathe, regular type of wood lathe. Okay, so that's one of the things a kit pin is not. A kit pin is also not necessarily a cheap pin. Now, there are, I'm talking about quality-wise. There are some makers of the parts out there that, are kind of cheap, but most reputable pin makers stay away from that. But as you look at, go to a craft fair or someplace where you have people that do woodworking, that type of thing, and you're likely to find somebody, a pin maker or a pin turner, at one of those places. And I think you'll be impressed at the quality that you will see. Okay, so what is a kit pin? Now, I said a kit pin is not where somebody sends away, gets a bunch of parts, and snaps them all together. And that is true mostly, because a kit pin is kind of like that. In other words, pin turners will send away. They will get I'm just using this as an example, the various component parts, and I'll show you here in a minute. But as you buy the pin, it has the nibs and grip section and the feed and the metal parts. It has the brass tubing that goes inside, and has the cap. Cap usually, in this case, cap comes complete with the pin. However, if you got a pin like this honking dude, you'll see here that you have materials both for the cap and the body. And so you'd have the clip and the finials and the bands and so forth that, and here you have, this is a roller ball, the grip section and all that, and that comes separate. But what happens is, so the pin turner will get the kit, or will get the kit. They will order also the material for the body, whether it be wood or acrylic or what's called an M3 metal, to take to their lathe, and they turn it to the shape and conformity to that kit. And there you have a pin. They press the parts together. Now keep in mind, this process has to be done right. A person can slop this type of thing together. They can get on the lathe and it'll be all uneven. It's going to be, anytime you do something by hand like that, it's going to be uneven just a tad anyway. But like if you look down the barrel, you might see it kind of wave a little bit. But typically you'll see very little of that with a good pin maker. And if they're using a metal lathe, you're probably not going to see any of that, like I said, because they tend to be very exact. Some may end up using like a computerized CNC type of equipment, but that is really getting expensive, and pretty much those guys are more into high volume, like Edison pins and others that pretty much make what looks like a bespoke pin. In other words, the majority of the parts are made in-house, the grip section and all that, but they do that on a computerized with computerized equipment in order to give consistency to size and weight and so forth. So a pin turner is going to get this, and they're going to take very good care. They want to make sure that when the body comes to the finials or the metal portions, that it's going to be a smooth transition, as smooth as possible. And so kit pins, again, they can be nice quality, they can be cheap, but most pin turners are going to do a good job. Now, one of the downsides of a hand-turned pin, a kit pin, is they can be, for what they are, they can be sometimes pretty expensive, and that's because a person's time is valuable. And so you're going to buy something, you're going to be able to buy something from a major manufacturer oftentimes that costs less, and that's because they can make these things in such huge volumes that they can afford to bring the price down. One of the advantages of a kit pin is you can get it in materials that the looks of materials that you won't find anywhere else. Now this is what I call a hybrid type of pin, and what I've done here, this is my homemade. I showed you guys this my homemade pins before, or if you look in one of my recent videos on my pin collection, you'll see these. But you get some beautiful materials. This is a dark green, and it's got some pearlescence look to it, and same with this turquoise. The only parts that I use, these are roller balls, but I make these in fountain pens too for myself, is the grip section and this metal here, and then the band and the threaded parts, because quite frankly I haven't gotten to the point where I want to mess with all the threading and that type of thing. So, but these are closed. I don't have a clip, but they're called closed in, where you don't have any metal finials and that sort of thing. And the reason why I do that is because I get as much of a material as I can, so I can look at it, and it's kind of cool when you look on the ends on some of these and see how it looks on the rounded part there. Anyway, there's a purple one, kind of like that too. That's called Curanite, by the way, the material. So that's I'm gonna take this over to the table, and I'm gonna compare it to one of a recently reviewed manufactured pin. Okay, so hold on, let's get over to my table. Okay, so here you have a kit pin and a manufactured pin. Now this is a Sheaffer Intensity, again, that I reviewed recently. Now this has the carbon fiber right there, and then but as you look at these two pins, okay, really what's the difference of a kit pin and a manufactured pin? I mean, for instance, these both have metal caps. In fact, I like this metal cap a little bit better because of the etching on the cap that helps to keep fingerprints down. The quality of the material is very, very similar. Okay, this comes off. You have a metal grip there, and turn this off. It's a plastic grip. So some of the grip sections may be, but this is not an uncomfortable section at all. I'm not trying to show kind of exact comparison, but just to show you. Okay, so what went on in the process of these? This barrel was made separate. Who knows who makes each one of these parts? Some of these parts could be ordered out of house, made out of house. Now, let's say that they're all made in-house. Okay, that's good, but sometimes they could be, so you don't know necessarily who made the clip. I mean, maybe Sheaffer did an outhouse order on the clip. Outhouse order. Okay, so they're sitting on the stool. No. Okay, so maybe they farmed out the the clips, to where maybe it's cheaper to have somebody else make them. They made them to their specifications, good quality, and so forth. But still, you have the Sheaffer, along the band there, and you don't have anything along this band. So I just don't. They're going to have a section where you got the converter or the cartridge, and so this one I got the converter somewhere else. This one takes standard international cartridge. That's another advantage of kit pins, is they're all going to take standard international cartridges. Okay, the Sheaffer takes a proprietary cartridge. But my main point is, as you look at these, really, I mean, that's what happens in a manufacturer. They have different parts. They have various parts that they go through an assembly process where they're all put together. Now, again, the advantage of a major manufacturer is you do have a quality control that should be very consistent, and the name brand, and they have their standards. And so like Pilot pins. Okay, you buy a Pilot pin, it's going to be done well. Visconti had problems with their nibs for a while. I don't know if they still have any issues, but they were having issues with their nibs, and so these are very expensive pins, $600-800 pins that are having problems with their nibs. All right, from a manufacturer. All right. So all that to say is, just because it's a kit pin, if you hear the term kit pin, that doesn't mean it's necessarily a bad thing. Just make sure that you are working with a reputable pin turner, and communicate with them that if you get this, and quite frankly, there are turners that if you don't like your pen, they don't have a problem. You send it back and them refunding your money. I mean, it all depends on the turner. That's the way I operated when I had my little business going through Etsy. I want to satisfy customers. I know what it's like ordering online, and you order something that you haven't even picked up before. You don't like it, you want to get it back. Okay, so again, there's advantages, disadvantages, but the bottom line is, just because it's a kit pen doesn't mean it's poor quality, doesn't mean it's cheaply made, and it can mean that it could be a very unique pen for you, a pen that other pen enthusiasts, fountain pen enthusiasts, don't have. kit pins can come in, depending on the kit. A lot of them come with number 5 nibs that are interchangeable with JoWo nibs, and I make some. The ones I make for myself typically use a number 6 nib, and so I buy a JoWo number 6 nib from someplace. I got a bunch of Goulet nibs, and I just use those, and they work great. So I got a pin that writes just as well as many manufactured pins. So there you go. Okay, let's go take a look at my shop, and I'll give you a brief overview of kind of inside look at how these kit pins are made. Alrighty, so we are out here at my lathe. I'll zoom out here. Okay, so here's my lathe. It's called a mini or MIDI, probably more like a MIDI lathe, and this is where I make my pins. Now, what I do is I start with something like this. Now, this is just a piece of scrap wood, and you drill a hole. You put a brass sleeve, brass tube down the middle. You know, it's glued, and so forth. And then these, what they call bushings, fit in there, and they fit tight. Okay, then bring it over to your lathe, and there's different kinds of mandrels that guys and gals use. This is, like I said, this is just a very simplified, quick look, and they put it on there. So let me get this more centered here. Okay, and of course this is going to go down there, and then you have your little piece there that you move way up. All right, you tighten that, and you have a tool that once this thing gets spinning, then you make that into the shape that you want. As you do that, you're using materials like this. This is a type of acrylic material. Okay, so, or of course you can use some type of wood. This is olive wood here, and make your pen. Now, when they're making it in, oftentimes they will, if you're making a 2-part, a barrel and a cap, you'll cut that to size however you need to do that, and sometimes they turn both on the same mandrel. I like to turn mine separate. Okay, so they'll split these up, and they'll make both the cap and the barrel, or if it's a single type tube, whatever, then they'll just use a portion of that material. Okay, what do you get when you buy a kit pin? Well, number one, okay, you get the pieces, you get the parts. So I'm gonna see if I can get this open here. All right, these are some of the parts. Here's your nib and grip section, feed, and so forth. That all comes together, for instance. And here you have your, where your sections are going to screw together. Here you have a clip. All right. You even have, this is a fountain pen, so they send you a complimentary cartridge. You have, again, another fitting there. Okay, so I already have the grip, so forth, put together on the one. So the bottom line is, okay, here's some other parts here. There's a finial right there. There's a finial right there. There's the band to the thing, and then you'll get some brass tubes, okay, that go down through your fitting here. You just stick that in there, you glue it in, and then you're good to go. All right. This one, I already have some of the parts kind of cut up a little bit, ready to go to make this purple and black pin. All right, so there you have it. That's basically what goes into making a kit pin. There's a lot of good craftsmen out there that can make you a wonderful pin. So don't limit yourself to the major manufacturers. Find you, if you're going to do this, and you can get some very unique fountain pens that are not like anybody else's. Don't discount the private craftsmen. Some of their pins are going to cost you too, but you know, again, if you knew the time that it takes me to actually get in here, and I have to, if I do wood, I have to also put a finish on there. I turn the shape. I have to shape it. I have to make sure that I do it right to certain measurements and so forth. And then I put a finish on it, and then I buff that, and there's a process that goes into it. It's not a fast process. So a person's time is valuable too. And so these people that make even the kit pins spend time making these. My stress is that when you hear kit pin, don't automatically say cheap or poor quality. They can be, but so can a manufacturer pin. Kit pin, it all depends on the craftsman. Make sure you check out if they're selling them in business. Make sure you check out their reviews. So enjoy your pins, whether they're manufactured, whether they're a kit pin or not. So there you have it. There's what a kit pin is. Here's what a kit pin is not. And whatever pin that you are using today and you are enjoying, great. All right. Thanks for watching, and check out a couple of videos, whether I have them over here or over there, I don't know. Anyway, check out a couple other videos that might be helpful to you, and thanks for tuning in to the Pin Man. You all have a great day.